Hello and welcome to Retro Reviews, my channel where I review my favorite retro video games of all time, as well as some modern releases I have recently finished. The retro game I want to look at today is Alan Wake Remastered version. Since this is a modern re-release of a classic game, I'm treating it as a retro release for this video and for the purposes of this video. So I really did not catch the Remedy boat when it first came around. I do recall my brother playing the Max Payne games, and I remember seeing some of those, and I remember really enjoying what I saw. I thought it was really unique and very interesting, very, like, almost a little bit scary in its own unique way. And I thought it was something brilliant, even as a kid watching my brother play this title. But I never really invested myself into the Remedy universe. That was until I finally played Control on the PlayStation 4. It was free 1 month. I'd seen some reviews of it and how phenomenal it had been. And I'll talk about Control at a later date, but that was the thing that brought me into the Remedy universe. And so when Alan Wake Remastered finally came to PlayStation Plus, I was really, really excited because I wanted to experience this game for myself. I had heard mixed things about Alan Wake, that it was either a masterpiece or kind of a boring slog with some interesting story elements. And I was afraid that I would get the latter. And I didn't jump into it immediately because I had some other experiences I was going through. I needed to finish some more games. I didn't want to lag behind on those by starting a new game. But I finally got around to playing Alan Wake, and I initially understood the criticisms that went along with it. It does feel like an old game, even as the remastered version. But that's not in a really bad way. Initially, it feels a little bit clunky, but it actually feels really cool and reminiscent of the era that it came from. It very much feels like a Max Payne or a Rockstar franchise type thing, where the characters' movements and everything, the way you jump, has that little bit of lag and the one foot after the other when you do your little jump. It feels very much a product of its time in the best way possible. You play as this writer, Alan Wake, who goes to on this little vacation retreat so that he can clear his head and get back to writing. He's a famous writer. He's authored a ton of books. He's very successful, but recently he's got into a bit of a slump. So he goes on vacation with his wife to Bright Falls, this place out in the middle of nowhere, really small town, so he can clear his head. His wife tries to encourage him to write, and he gets a little upset about that. He goes off to clear his head for a moment and comes back to hear her yelling, and the cabin that he's staying at start to do some crazy things, and his wife disappears, and it becomes this mystery thriller that you're going through, trying to figure out what is going on in this world, what's happening, why your wife is gone, what happened, and how do we get her back. So I won't go into spoiler territory very much. I will do very light spoilers. I will do my best not to touch on main story elements or anything like that. I will give you enough to understand what's going on without divulging anything specific spoiler related. So after experiencing this with Alan Wake's wife Alice going missing, he tries to go and save her. She fell into the water below. He thinks there was a splash there. He jumps off into the water, and then all of a sudden he wakes up in a car with a head wound, and he's by the edge of a cliff. He has no idea what had happened, and he finds out pretty quickly that a week of his time has passed at this point, since trying to save Alice in the water and now in this car accident that he's in. And you hear narration going on through this whenever you pick up certain things. You pick up these pages that you'll find throughout the world, these manuscript pages, that you start to realize that Alan Wake wrote himself in this time period. He's picking up manuscript pages that he wrote in the week between him losing his memory here. And the narration is always Alan talking about the story as if he has written it to come to pass exactly this way. And that's what you'll see. You'll see the story unfolding just as you read in the manuscript pages. You will not pick them up in order. You'll find them at random in different places, sometimes out of the way, usually on the main path, and they'll give you kind of insight into what's going to happen or some things that have already happened. You start to see that you have written this picture and this story that is happening, and it's all coming to pass exactly as it has been written. Now, your goal is to figure out why this is happening. Why is your writing coming to life in a very real way? And all the while, you're trying to figure out where Alice is. Why was she taken? What took her away? You'll find out pretty quickly that a lot of the town feels like a cursed place. You'll experience dark enemies really early on in the game, which are called the darkness. They will attack you, and your only defense against them is to shine light on them. You can either get to safe points, little lamps or street lights that will shine light down, that will instantly dissolve anything away that has been chasing you and give you a checkpoint, or by using a flashlight that you get early on in the game. If you shine the light on them for long enough, it will break them out of this darkness veil that's covering them, and you can take them out by shooting them with your revolver or whatever weapon that you have. You have very little in terms of defense until you have broken their I guess dark shield that they have on them with your flashlight. You are unable to harm them. You can run away from them. You can also dodge their attacks. If you time the dodge correctly, you'll get a little animation and you'll avoid it and get some invulnerability frames. But for the most part, you're going to have to fight a lot in this game, or set traps, find environmental things to take out the darkness, because it will almost always be pursuing you. You'll learn pretty quickly that the world is very much against you, and that you are trying to fight for your own survival and the survival of the people around you. People are depending on you for your help, and you are just doing your best to get through this and understand what's going on. It's a brilliant storyline, and something, again, that you should experience for yourself. If I just gave you the spoilers, you wouldn't understand why this game is special. If I just told you the story, it wouldn't make any sense. This game comes together in pieces, and because they're out of order, you'll slowly have to piece together what's going on yourself. Now, this game may have been written a long time ago. It may be a very old game, maybe a little bit clunky in terms of its gameplay mechanics, but it works extremely well. And the more time you put into this game, the more you'll start to realize what makes it so special. The narration from Wake himself, and everything that you'd uncover as you play throughout the game, the people that you're helping around you, the trying to figure out the mysteries of Bright Falls, all comes together in this beautiful narrative that is really exciting to experience. Now, I went for full completion on this. I don't know if I would fully recommend it. It comes with one full playthrough, trying to get as many the collectibles as you can. You'll also find coffee thermoses everywhere that you need to find. You also find like can pyramids you can shoot over that are just randomly encountered throughout the world. You'll also find the manuscript pages that you can get throughout the world and throughout your playthrough. You'll also get some other collectibles in terms of, I'm trying to remember all the things that you can get in this. You'll have the coffee thermoses are a big one. They're usually either on the main path, right away from the main path, and sometimes really far out of the way that you have to go out and search for. Ultimately, trying to find these collectibles that you're looking for typically requires a guide. The manuscript pages themselves are usually in plain sight, and you won't have too hard of a time finding all of them. You'll have a reference to show you how many you need throughout the gameplay. You'll notice right away as well with the manuscript pages that some of them are locked to what's called nightmare mode. They'll unlock after beating in a single playthrough. So this game does require 2 playthroughs minimum to beat this game fully. Once you've completed a chapter of the story, this game is broken down into chapters. You can replay segments of that story whenever you want, going back and picking up the side things that you've missed, completing some of the achievements that are either timed or challenge achievements. There is a lot to do, and the chapter work really makes it a better experience if you are going for full completion. I don't know if I would fully recommend full completion, but the nightmare mode is a really interesting challenge. It makes enemies stronger, more resistant to light. It makes them harder to take down as well. And the manuscript pages that you pick up in nightmare mode give you much more insight into what's going on in the world. It does give you a little more clarity, which is an interesting thing. Again, I don't know if it warrants a whole nother playthrough, but I did enjoy my time playing through the second playthrough of Alan Wake. I think as an experience, if you can just soak in everything that this game has to offer on your first playthrough, you'll get about as much enjoyment as you need out of this game. The remastered version also comes with the 2 DLC packs that came with the original launch, and that really give you some more light into what's going on, some more insight into the ending that comes at the end of Alan Wake. It gives you a little bit more closure and some more clarity on the world that you are pursuing and the world that you are unfolding with this writing. I highly recommend you play through those as well. They are very fun. They're not super long. They're just 1 chapter a piece. They're not broken up into segments, so you have to do them all in one go. You can quit out at any point if you have checkpoints and come back in, but the segments themselves, you can't go into pieces and collect things that you've missed. So you want to go through those just in one go. And if you're going for full completion, probably use a guide for the collectibles. Overall, though, this is a brilliant story, and it's, again, I wish I had the eloquence to really explain what makes this game so special. But the writing itself, the world that Remedy built, and the narration of Wake narrating this game as if he wrote it himself and is building this world himself is really genius. And I can't recommend this game enough. I have heard that Alan Wake 2 is one of the best experiences out there. It did get nominated for Game of the Year and absolutely could have won a lot of awards. And I cannot wait to go play Alan Wake 2 because Remedy makes spectacular games. So if you got this one for free on PlayStation Plus and you haven't tried it yet, I highly recommend you go out and check it out. For me, Alan Wake is absolutely a platinum experience. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.